This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello everyone and welcome back for a new season of Football a la Turca. My name is Kam Bayezid and today I'm joined by Jakub Marafolo, Özer Dinger and a debutant Sinan Schwarting. Guys, welcome to the show and thank you for joining me for this first episode of the 2021-2022 season.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello. Good to be back.
Thanks for having me.
No Fenerbahce voice today. Burak unfortunately couldn't make it. And my dog just...
Oh, maybe he's a Fenerbahce voice.
I was gonna say, is your dog basically saying right now that he's like, "Excuse me, sir, I'm a Fenerbahce fan."
Pega bata.
He's correcting you.
She's like looking at the roof as if there's something inside. Wait, I'm gonna throw her out. Wait.
Is it a yellow canary?
No. Maybe.
That's good.
Can't train them to bark when he hears the words, you know.
I was gonna say, either he's a Fenerbahce fan or he hates Fenerbahce. It can't be both. I was asking if maybe he saw like a raccoon or something, and then they were saying maybe you lived in an area with too many buildings to see raccoon.
No. I live in a forest, man.
Oh,
That's what I thought. Yeah, that.
Right now, I live in a forest. So it's just
There
a
you
pigeon
go.
landing on the roof or something, and she just goes crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway.
Unless you've been invaded by canaries, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
You
let's.
should keep a piece of that in there for the entertainment value.
Yeah. I'll
Dog
keep a
sensitive.
little bit of it.
Because
Okay.
he really did speak up as if you were a Fener fan,
Right.
Khan. Like, no offense, but...
Well, sorry about that interruption there. The dog, I think, heard a little yellow canary. No, so no Fener fan tonight, unfortunately, on the panel. So let's try to keep the Fener bash to a minimum, guys. I don't think there's anything yet we have to talk about too much, right?
Just don't get your dog started again. Let's move on.
Yeah.
No more talk about Fenerbahce.
So it's a new season, guys. We had a thrilling season last season, but no crowd, and now the crowd is back. That has to be amazing for I mean, I don't know how you guys are experiencing it, but even with just 10,000 people or something in the stands last Friday for the Beşiktaş game, because 2 days or 3 days before the start, they decided to notify everyone, well, you need to have had your second jab for at least 2 weeks. So for a lot of Beşiktaş fans, that meant they couldn't go. So the capacity was only at 25% rather than 50%. But how did you guys experience that first weekend with fans back?
It was interesting to see Giresun because they were back in the league after all these years with a brand new stadium, and they had the fans in there as well. So it was nice to see kind of all those things coming together nicely for once for a brand new team. So it was, like you say, it wasn't full, but it was nice just to have that human touch, you know, to be able to see the expressions on people's faces, to be able to see the fans screaming and swearing and doing all this unspeakable stuff to the cameras. It was good, just like old times.
and like the horny cameramen over focusing on like the woman in the crowd.
Oh yeah,
That's always
exactly.
an important feature. No, I agree. I thought it was fantastic. It was great to see just, you know, to hear actual fans again, none of the fake stuff or anything.
Right.
But also it was kind of nice that it was a little diminished by the kind of quick rule change. Like, for example, we know I don't know if you've ever talked about the Scottish twins on here, Khan, but we have
No, I don't think we've mentioned
some friends, right?
Kjartan and
Like,
Özcan yet, no.
Yeah, our friend Özcan couldn't go because he had tickets, but like he had only gotten his first shot, so he couldn't. He needed. You have to do the whole process now.
I think he even got his second one. That just wasn't. Yeah, he got the second one, but it was like a week ago or something, or 10
so
days.
You need the 2 week,
and it needed 14 days.
Window.
Yeah, so he couldn't go on a technicality. He was really upset about that.
But on the other hand, what's good is that that there was just like a little preview of the sound we're gonna get. It's gonna be even louder, and then potentially even louder than that in the next match. So I think on the one hand, it was like a good little preview of what to expect, and it was great to I'm sure for guys like Valentin Rosier or Ghezal, in our case, guys who had just come to Besiktas last season, and you guys have your own versions of that. But, for them to finally hear some of those Turkish fans that they, I'm sure, heard so much about previously, it must have been really nice for them, certainly.
Yeah. Did they talk about anything of like, initially it was it's 50%? Did they say anything about increasing that gradually as the season goes on?
Yeah, I think they did. I think they did towards the end of the year. Depending on how things go, I think they're going to increase it. I think there was a statement like that a few months time.
Yeah, because I believe in the Netherlands and in Belgium it's at 100% already that the crowds are allowed. I might be mistaken,
but over here the crowds have been at games for a while now. It's not something new that they started that at the end of last season. So it's going okay here. So it was nice to see the crowds back in Turkey, but as you guys also said, the capacity is so low, and there are like a washing list of of rules that's like 2 pages long that you have to abide by, and not a lot of people had the time to abide by it. So the first couple of games might be a little bit empty, but I think that as the season goes on and the vaccination and all start to get out a lot more, I think the stadiums will fill up.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess like completely unrelated to football, like even our Scottish friend over there, I think like I'm not convinced he even said, I was like, are you excited? Are you relieved? You can't get the virus anymore, or you won't be hospitalized. He was like, I just really want to be able to go to a Besiktas game. So like I guess on the practical end, it's good. It's good people are getting their vaccines, even if it's just to see football.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I mean the question that I've heard asked in the Netherlands and in Belgium, for example, is people are so used to watching the games from home now. Is there gonna be like are there gonna be people that are like, well, you know what? I mean, I kind of go to the stadium for the atmosphere, but actually it's better watching the game from my TV. Is there gonna be a lot of that? Like people just staying away from the stadiums going forward? That's one of the concerns that's being raised here. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out in Turkey. But at least it's great to have the fans back for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So initially, I mean, there's not too much to talk about. Trabzonspor are the first leaders in the league with a very impressive win. 1-5 away against Malatyaspor, which was a great game for a couple of debutants like Marek Hamšík, who immediately got a goal and an assist. What do you think about his addition to the team now, Jakob? He's a class player, of course. Do you notice that he's still lacking a little bit of fitness, or did you think those 6 months at, what was it? Did he play at Elfsborg? I think it was Elfsborg, right? Did that do him good, you think? Is he top fit?
Yeah, as far as I can see, he played a couple of the friendly matches before the season started, and played like one full game. The last friendly match I was against Başakşehir, I think. But yeah, players like him, I kind of think he's similar to players like Sosa. They don't really rely on their speed a lot, and they can still ping off passes like there's no day tomorrow, And that is what you saw in the first game, and in the game against Roma. He has the he has the intuition to run to some places. He's able to see the pitch on a different level, and his passes are okay. But I think the midfield is really stacked. So you have players that are kind of doing multiple things or kind of doing the same thing. But I think that the new transfers, I well, Gervinho scored and assisted. Pretty much a whole attacking. I said it a couple of times. I think that Gervinho is going to do really well in the league. I was surprised by him because he still has the pace and he has the muscles to push everybody off the ball. I just hope it's football. But yeah, I think that Hamsik is maybe a little bit you compare him to Sosa, but it might also be that Abdullah Avcı wants the gunner of the team.
I expected him to be past it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And not only have I been impressed with what he's done in the Super League, but even in Europe, he's looked, kind of like his old self, to be honest. I've really been impressed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I actually was a big hater of Gervinho for many years, even when he was in the Premier League at Arsenal. Then when he went to Roma, I actually saw him live at a game at the San Siro. It was Inter against Roma, where Roma actually won that game 3-0. But Gervinho was so poor. And I remember thinking, wow, what is the hype around this guy? He sucks. And then he sort of disappeared. And then when he was linked with Trabzon, I thought, oh, a has-been. He's going to waste the money. But he seems like a different person. He seems really involved in the game. His body language, he looks happy. He looks like he's enjoying football. He's fast. He's contributing to attacks, to defense. And, like you said, if he stays fit, then he's going to be a great contribution to both Trabzon and the league. And I'll be happy to eat my words, if that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Gervinho, definitely. I didn't really know what to expect of him. Like he spent time in China, but then last season he was at Parma, and I had the impression that he was pretty good there. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. Like 34 years old, on a relatively high wage, but he's been great. Like just the way he runs at defenders, and he's just he doesn't look like a 34-year-old player right now. Of course, it's a question to whether he can keep that up for 40 plus games. Europe, although. Yeah, maybe if they go out against Roma, I guess it's like 38 league games or 37 more. So, well, we'll have to wait and see. But Trabzonspor have had a very, very interesting transfer window. We'll circle back to that a little later. But let's get your impressions of Galatasaray's first match. You already alluded to it briefly with noting Giresun playing in front of in a new stadium and stuff like that. But what was your impression of Galatasaray, including with the early European qualifiers and then the first league match?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with the qualifiers because none of the games I've seen from Galatasaray so far, and that's actually ranging back to the end of last season and most of last season, if I'm really honest, have impressed me. We have a very good squad. There's star-studded players in there, a lot of quality, a lot of value. But I just don't think the team is coming together and playing any attractive football whatsoever. We scraped a lot of results at the end of last season. We drew our first game with St. Johnstone in the European qualifier this season. And, we won. We ended up going through. We won 4-2 in Scotland, but that wasn't exactly an easy game. Then we had the game against Giresun, which I thought we were a little bit more stable. I was a bit more impressed with our calmness and our possession football. We played a bit more attractive around the box. We had a few chances. And suddenly I thought, okay, maybe we've turned the corner. And then we played yesterday against
Randers.
Randers. I was about to say Rangers there. I keep falling into that trap. But yeah, Randers. So Randers. And what were we doing exactly? Okay, we controlled the possession, but we had hardly any decent chances. We went 1-0 ahead thanks to a wonder strike from Kerem, which, okay, there was a bit of deflection there, but he still did really well to control the ball, to turn and shoot. And that was impressive movement there from the young lad. But we didn't really pose enough of a threat going forward. We should have made it 2-3 in that first half. Mustafa Mohamed had a chance to make it 2-0. He was called offside. In my view, it was onside, but nonetheless, we should have just kept on going. And if you look at the transfers that we made, if you look at the value of the squad, ours is about 10 times that of Randers. It's something like 98 million euros versus 10 million euros for the Randers team. And Terim's always talking about the makas and how the gap has widened between Turkish clubs and other European clubs. And here we are playing with a team against a team that's 10 times less valuable than ours. And yet we're still unconvincing. We still can't beat them. The game finished 1-1. And now we have to do the business in Istanbul. And, every game you draw, every game you don't win, you're sacrificing coefficient points. Both for the country and for the club. And Galatasaray is something like 17. which is absolutely pathetic. Something in the low 60s in terms of the European teams playing this year. So we need every point, every single victory is crucial for us.
Yeah, and that's also something that comes back to haunt you later on, like Trabzonspor, for example, now having
like
to play Roma.
Exactly. And Terim complains at the end of every conference talking about the gap between Europe and Turkey, and then tries to reassure fans by saying, "Oh, don't worry, we've got transfers coming. But the obsession with transfers is becoming ridiculous now. Look, I mean, we don't need transfers to beat Randers. We don't need transfers to beat St. John. We should be beating these guys with our academy players. And on the note of transfers, you know, we've spent 20 million euros. We haven't sold a single penny worth of players. And I'm not seeing really any of this rejuvenation in the squad that kind of money should bring in.
Well, they did sign. I mean, I don't know about that because I like I'm liking Sasha Boy, for example. And,
Sasha Boy, that's true. He was a brilliant scouting find so far. You know, he cost €1 million. He's 20 years old. He's been very impressive. But you know, of that, there's still another 19 million to go. So we spent 7 on Chica, which is a lot of money, as we spoke about before the show. To spend on an unknown
6.5 on Chicaldao, right?
If you remember that Wesley Sneijder was signed for 7.5 million over lunch back.
Yeah, but
that should be the barometer of
it's true. But you need to keep. You also need to keep in mind that you're paying like you were paying Sneijder like 4.5 million a year, whereas Chicaldao's probably I don't know how much he's making, but he's probably making like $1 million or something.
Also, the finances in football, I feel like it's so easy to not understand them in these last 5 years because like certain guys go for so much less than they would have 5 years ago, and then other guys go for like 35 times more. You know, like we're really in strange times financially.
True. Yeah, it's very hard to keep track of any pattern in that respect.
Yeah,
but I still agree with you though. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because there's the whole push for spending on the 20 million on new players, plus the whole Project Youth that's been kicked out in our transfer policy, and yet we still had to watch Jim Bomb against Randers playing the likes of Arda, Babel, Faguli. Babel, who's like 35. Falcao comes on. Is this guy for sale or is he not for sale? I mean, what happened to the Project Youth setup? What happened to Barış, who we signed from Ankara for €1 million? So I haven't seen him play yet. So if we're pushing through this transfer policy of youngsters and spending on all these other guys, why do we still have to see Arda, Faguli, Babel play? I find that very frustrating. But in spite of all of that, I still don't think that Terim has a game plan in mind. I mean, there's some really fundamental issues with Galatasaray this season. I think that the squad is good. It's very good. It's good enough to compete. I don't know if it's quite as good as Beşiktaş and Trabzon in terms of their fluidity and the way everyone's coming together so quickly for you guys. But I do think Galatasaray should be wiping the floor with teams that have played this season, and we've really struggled in each case. So I'm very worried.
Can I hear your thoughts quickly on the Marcao Kerem?
Yeah,
debacle?
I mean,
like where do you stand on what should happen?
I mean, I was absolutely shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I tweeted instantly saying Marcao should be kicked out and should be transfer listed immediately because this is completely unacceptable behavior. Never seen anything like it. To attack your own player, headbutt, and then 2 punches during a game. I mean, it's tantamount to assault. I mean, Kerem could surely go to police if he wanted to. And Terim said after the game, we'll sort it internally. I don't think he has the luxury to say that because this is a TFF matter. It's potentially even something more serious, like I said. So TFF giving him an 8-match ban, I think, is just about right. It could have been worse. It could have been 10. It could have been more, and no one would have really said anything.
I think the maximum was 10.
Was it the max? Okay.
I think according to the rules, it was between 5 and 10. And 8 is.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's
inverted commas assault. Yeah. And look, let's be honest here. Because it's Marcao doing it to Kerem, some Galatasaray fans are coming out saying, "Oh, 8 matches is too harsh. TFF is against us." But if it was Serdar Aziz in a Fenerbahce show who did the same thing, everyone would be calling for a whole season ban. So we have to approach it, objectively with a cool head. I think 8 games is fair and could have been worse. And I'm really disappointed. I don't know if I want to see Marcao in the Galatasaray shirt again.
And how do you feel about Kerem? Because there's a part of me that feels like, at the very least, you have to get to the bottom of what it was that set Marcao off, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Also true. That hasn't been discussed at all. I mean, something must have happened to trigger Marcao. It was something about the shush gesture that it looked like Kerem was doing. I don't know what it was about. Maybe he wasn't defending enough, or he said something. But there was obviously a trigger there, which hasn't been discussed, not by Terim, not by Kerem, and not by Marcao in his own apology. So it's a really strange situation, really strange.
I mean, so the reason I asked is because I'll be, a kind rival, if you will, but I really think the Super League would not benefit from either one of those guys not being in it. Kerem Aktürkoğlu is a fantastic, sort of prospect, in the Turkish sense. I mean, he's a little old, but he's certainly incredibly talented, obviously. And Marcao is probably your guys' best defender all around, and he's a fantastic addition to the league as well. He's probably one of the league's best defenders. In fact,
agree.
Certainly in the top 5. So I hope that this can be resolved. And the reason I asked about Kerem's side is I hope that I hope that they really look into whatever it was that set it off and resolve it between the two guys, because that's just, even as a rival who would love to see you guys falter, right? That's not the way I want to see it done. I want to see it done with us scoring on you guys in a way that's just mentally torturous for you. I'm just kidding. You know what I'm saying?
There can be no excuses after the season. But our players were crazy. No. No, but I mean, I completely agree with you, and I even said to some friends of mine, what would we do if this was Vida doing this? Would we just want them to terminate his contract? No, I mean, especially with Marcao, who's 24, 25. He's one of the most valuable players that Galatasaray have. On one end, I'm if this was Ryan Donk, for example, I'm pretty sure it would be over for him. But you can't really. I don't think some people will look at that like it's hypocrisy. But I think you need to be realistic about it. For Galatasaray, what they can set an example and suspend the guy and drop him from the squad completely, which I think they have done for the time being. But at the end of the day, he is right now, probably Galatasaray's most valuable player.
I think he is.
Yeah.
Although in doing so, he's obviously massively diminished his own value.
Yeah, for sure.
Any team who wants to play won't want to play like that in their team, a troublemaker.
For sure.
That's something to consider. But you're right. You don't want to deflate your asset entirely. Which is why I said that he should have been. A resolution is to be transfer listed. So extract the value from the player and get him out of the team if he's going to cause problems. I think that's unrealistic given the timelines of the transfer window and everything.
Yeah.
So probably the next best compromise is to have him sit out for an extended period of time, have a resolution, and make that resolution public so the public aren't always second guessing what's going on in the dressing room, because that will create a cloud of shit over the team.
I also saw some crazy reactions come out from Galatasaray's chairman, saying that he thought that the punishment was unlawful by the TFF, but they won't appeal it. But
it's
almost
all a big conspiracy.
That felt very tone deaf.
I think the situation is just such an odd one, because if it was Marcao fighting with a person from the other team, you could maybe excuse it a little bit, but because it's an internal issue now that it's brought up, into the open, and as you guys already said, Marcao is probably the best defender in the team, and he's easily worth 8 or 10 million euros. So you can't just, you have to be honest. You have to look at it from a financial side. You can't just throw him away like it's like he's nothing. And you can't also blame it on Kerem, because he's one of the more promising boys in the team. So it's probably whatever the chairman did, whatever Terim should have done, it's always going to be bad, And talking about how the TFF decision is odd because they announced it before the game is just Turkish mentality of being the eternal victim and to shift the blame.
That's true. It is odd to do it during the game at halftime, knowing that the players are going to find out about this in the dressing room.
They shouldn't really. They shouldn't be on their phones during halftime. Quite frankly,
that's true. But still, it's just the time. It is a suspect timing. But I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a conspiracy against Galatasaray because of this. I mean, I hate the TFF. I think we're all united in our.
If anything, it's just a typical mismanagement of these morons who have no business being on that side of football, and like not a single one of them.
Right.
They should be shot into the sun.
I still don't know the conclusion of this whole foreign limit debacle, by the way, because like the clubs unanimously appealed against it and said like even threatened to not start the league, but that seems to all have just died down. Like
the conclusion on my end is, again, they should all be shot into the sun.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Bravo,
just be done
bravo.
with these.
And like even like yesterday or something, one of the chairmen of the second division even said like, yeah, the prices of domestic players has dramatically increased already. It just goes to show you like this entire like I don't understand the logic behind this behind that, but that's something for a different episode, I think. So Uzra, and guys in general, what do you guys like outside of the top four? Right, we can talk more about that in a bit. But what do you guys think? You know, beyond the obvious Mario Balotelli transfer, but which are some of the transfers this summer that have caught your eye? Let's start with you, Jakub, because you haven't spoken too much.
I think that the one that flew under a lot of radars is Ahmet Musa to Karagümrük. I totally forgot that he was there, but you know, he played his first game for the team and he immediately scored, and I was shocked because I always expected him to come to Turkey, but I thought, you know, it would probably be one of the top four teams will drastically overpay him and you know try to make you know fans happy with it.
Like at the end of the window.
Yeah,
when
and
the first three options fail.
Yeah, and what also surprised me, he's only 28. I really thought he was like 32 or something. So, you know, Karagümrük did last year. Last year they did okay. I think that they went through a pretty good transfer season. They also got Benatia, who used to play at Juventus. He is 34 years old. You know, Biglia did really good last year. There was even talks about him going to Fener. You know, I think that even though they might have an older core, you know, I think that they will do pretty okay. And Ahmet Musa, as I said, probably because Balotelli is the bigger name and the bigger personality in you know in football. I think he overshadowed his transfer a little bit, and he's going to surprise a lot of fans because I can already see Karagümrük playing against Galatasaray, Fener, Beşiktaş, or Trabzon, and they concede a goal from Ahmet Musa, and everybody's going like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that our stupid board didn't get him for free." And you know, I can already see it.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, we could have used him. We're still. I mean, I guess now that we got Batsman, I can't say that anymore. But certainly for the first 2 months of this window, I was stressing about it. Interesting.
I'd say another good transfer that slipped on the radar is Andrea Poli, who signed for Antalyaspor from Bologna. I think he was the captain there. He played about 3-4 years, and then before that he was at Milan, made over 100 appearances. And he's only 31, so he's still got a lot of legs, and he's got tons and tons of experience at top level in Italy. He played, I think he was capped for Italy 4 or 5 times as well. So he could be a great signing in Antalya. I bet he's delighted to be moving to the Turkish coast to play football.
Yeah, and that seems to be a little bit of a trend, right? The last 2 or so years, that there's a lot of more players from Serie A coming to the Turkish league. Like that didn't happen before. And
no,
now,
that's true.
It's a new thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I like it.
Not to mention they're journalists.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. Let's not talk too much about that.
Suddenly they're very interested in us.
I mean, to be fair, like the Italian journalists have been very interested in Turkish cliques for a couple of years now. And they clearly still they have expanded on that this transfer window with a lot of exclusives and a lot of in the know Italians about Turkish and negotiation that go nowhere.
Hold on. All right. So for me, my transfer. Quickly, I wanted to mention a guy on Trabzon because I'm sure Jakub, being a decent fella, didn't want to call out his own team, but I really think that Cornelius could be a huge move for the Super League. He really I've seen little of him just in that match yesterday, but he seems like he has the profile and the kind of size physically that he could really make an immediate impact in the Super League. I thought. Also, you probably overpaid for Dorukhan, but I thought that was a really good fit.
Yeah.
If you can find a place for him. If you put him in as a right back, I guarantee that you will be happy.
I told him that, and he was like, "What? Are you crazy?" I was like, "No, trust me."
I really didn't know, because all the times that I saw him play at Besiktas, he was a midfielder. I'm happy with Dorukhan, but as I said multiple times, and as you guys heard me say multiple times, I think that the wages are going a little bit out of control. I think Aul is on his last term, so he's throwing everything at the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
But especially a player like Dorukhan, he's getting like, I don't even remember. It was such a big number that I
1.6 or something.
I'm sorry.
1.6, I think, right?
Yeah,
Something
probably
like that.
something like that. And as for Cornelius, I think that he has some unbelievably big shoes to fill. I think that with the way Sørloth played with us, every fan is hoping for a repeat, and it's going to put a lot of pressure in him. We saw how horrible Afobe was last year. He was one of the worst strikers that I ever see in the jersey.
I think he was your rebound. I think Cornelius is the real deal.
I hope
You're
so.
back,
I really
baby.
hope so, man. Because as you said yesterday, he did really good. He did really well yesterday. His first goal is reminiscent of the goal that Sørloth scored against Sparta Prague last year. The year before, sorry. So I hope so. I'm never too hopeful with the things that Trabzonspor do, because they always tend to backfire. But low expectations, high chance of being happy.
So what I liked so much about Cornelius is that his physical profile is one that that's not going to diminish. Like, even if he's in poor form, he can still body like 3/4 of the Super League. I mean, whether he puts it into the back end of the net, that's the question. But based on what he did yesterday, it looks good at the very least. It looks promising, we can say. But yeah, no doubt you want to see, for sure. You want to see that happen over a few games. But
do you have a pick outside the top four, Sinan?
Sorry, you did say outside the top four. Well, so I was actually going to mention Adana, and you said besides Adana.
But well, besides
I was going to say,
besides Balotelli, I mean, they were.
So yeah, I really like on Adana Demirspor. They got this guy named Asom Balonga. I really like him, and I think will go under a lot of radars, but. Similarly, I think his physical profile is such that, if he can find a bit of technique, he could actually be quite impactful. And generally, I thought Adana I thought this could be a good segue into the Fener match, since we don't have a representative over there. But I was pretty impressed with Adana. I got to say, like they held their form. I thought they looked the more likely to score in the first half of that match. Yeah. Obviously, Özil coming out of the gates in the second half got the job done for them, but. Even in the second half, they were knocking on the door. I thought.
Altay played a great game.
He did. He got forced into making quite a few good saves.
Yeah, I mean, early on in the season now, he's already put his name in the hat there for goalkeeper of the year, I think. I mean, he's the only one starting the season out in top form so far, with Muslera, and then definitely having a couple of hiccups. And Uğurcan, not necessarily hiccups, but, not having had the greatest Euros. Although I feel like he got way too much criticism for that. And he hasn't, like me and Jakub were talking off earlier, like his early season dip a little bit. But Altay impressing out of the gates. And definitely, I think, helping Fener to a win there. It was a tough away game against Adana. Maybe Fener are a little lucky that it comes so early, because Adana did do a lot of transfers, and it maybe will take them a little bit of time to mesh. But I'm not looking forward to that away game.
No, they were tough in that friendly too, and I thought, well, it's a friendly. We're missing. I mean, still we haven't played with Alex Teixeira or our striker, who's Batshuayi now, but still, Adana looked solid enough in sort of every facet of the match that I thought, this might not just be another, Antalya Sport type of kind of signing old big name type thing that Turkish teams have always done.
Yeah.
They might have had a vision there. I don't know.
How much are they paying Balotelli a year, though, Adana? Like, it's quite a lot, I imagine, right?
Anyone? I thought something above 3.
Oh.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Because he's getting that, and Belhanda is also getting like like 3.3 million or something.
Really? Wow.
Yeesh.
Crazy. But the Adana chairman has a couple of ties to.
Of course.
Yeah.
He is government tied, so even if Adana break the bank and they demolish the transfer limit, there's no way that
Which
they're
is
going to say
curious though, because Adana Demirspor kind of known as a leftist club, and then they have AKP
Weird.
ties and some
Going the wrong way.
some other ties.
Yeah, selling their soul.
It's curious. Well, let's talk about the transfer seasons of the big clubs then quickly. Like Fenerbahce, not much. They didn't really do a lot of movement.
What are they doing, by the
Yeah,
way?
who do they sign?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they are kind of in a position where they kind of feel last season we did a lot. Plus, they're in Europe now this season, and they're already having troubles like being able to register players for the Europa League. Like they just loaned out Ozan Tufan to Watford now, which made some financial space for them to actually be able to register, I think, Pelkas and stuff.
With an option.
And then
I mean, they were forced to sign Samata for like 6 million euros with one of the worst deals in history, as Trump would say it. But I think they actually started pretty okay. They got Serdar Dursun when nobody thought that he was going to come to Turkey. I think that he's a pretty good backup. I don't think he's a starting player, and being Turkish, he can also he's also not a part of the foreign limit. And they got that Korean guy that is supposed to be pretty good, the defender. But and Burak Kapacak from Bursa.
Yeah,
who's supposed to be a big talent.
Yeah, he had really good stats last season.
Not no really big transfers.
Yeah, like Steven Cocker, and he's immediately shown the door already.
Yeah.
Not only that, but a number of guys have been shown the door, right?
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of the guys they kind of overpaid last year for have had to.
Gökhan Gönül's contract did not get extended, and then Caner Erkin. I thought it was a little funny though, because Caner and
Sosa too, right? Sosa's out.
No, Sosa is still there.
Not yet. But the first time around, Vitor Pereira was at Fenerbahce. He had falling out with Caner and dropped him from the squad and stuff. And early on when Pereira got presented, they were showing these pictures of Caner and Vitor, doing the macho handshake.
Hugging and stuff. Hugging but not hugging.
Yeah. Oh, look at these guys. They've kissed and made up. It's all good. And then, a month later, Caner basically removed from the squad and shown the door, which I think is still, I think is stupid. I've always, I even said to Jakub, you guys should probably go for Caner, and I wasn't even kidding. I mean, honestly, quite frankly, I'd take him back. Maybe not on a big deal, but squad depth, why not? He's not the best defender, sure, but
I wouldn't, just because I wouldn't want him to take Rydvan's.
No, yeah, I mean, but I mean, I think
I know what you mean. On paper, theoretically,
on paper, he's still a good player, and. I mean, I understand maybe Vitor Pereira doesn't want to play with him, but I did have the feeling last season that he played a pivotal role in the fact that they were in the title race for as long as they were. And in the first half of the season, their stretch of 10-15 games in the beginning of the season, he had a lot of assists, and he was really important for them. And those points ended up, helping them at the end of the season to still be involved in the title race. I get that Vitor Pereira has different plans, but I mean, I don't understand. Why do you sign, for example, Steven Cocker, and then a month later decide to just send him? You want rid of him again? That doesn't make any sense.
What's his deal, by the way? Is he?
I think he's on 1.2 million a year for 3 years, so they'd have to pay him.
Taken him. Crap, man.
Not for that money. I wouldn't have taken it.
The thing was that they also said they made an announcement on the site saying that the future, that was before Pereira was announced, that the future coach already agreed to the transfer, so there should be no issue. And then 2 or 3 weeks later he is gone. So it's I think that Ali Koç started with a good head on his shoulders, but the way he keeps going, I think that he's going to crash and burn.
Do you
really hard.
remember? Do you
Yeah,
remember though?
great.
They were gonna like. It seemed all but done that they had signed Fonseca. Do you think that Fonseca maybe fell through at the last minute and that Vitor Pereira was Plan B?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah,
Because Fonseca wanted a lot of money and he wanted to bring his own staff. I think that his like yearly cost would be something around like 5 million or something, I thought, for just the staff. And coach probably looked at it and looked at how awful the Turkish lira is at the moment and decided to go with the old trusted one.
Yeah, but
I
don't
don't
even
think that Pereira is going to do okay, by the way. So, but
Yeah, but what's okay? Isn't
top
Fener?
three.
You do think or you don't think?
But is that enough?
I do.
Is that enough for
do.
Fenerbahce this season? Top 3, like
No, it's not.
like
No way.
given the. I mean, Mesut Özil and all that, and like last season,
Yeah, no way.
and
No way.
aren't they in a position where it's kind of make or break for them?
Yeah,
I think
totally.
they have to win.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very surprised that I get downsizing, right? Clearly they had eyes bigger than their stomach last season, right? But this year, I feel like that just puts all the more pressure on them to make sure that they kind of keep as much talent as they can, add that like maybe one or two pieces they really needed, and just kind of go all out. But on the other hand, perhaps last season really hit them hard financially, right? Because finishing where they did, having made all those investments, I mean, maybe they really don't have that option. On the other hand, so I don't, I'm ambivalent on them. I feel like they really need to go for it, but I'm not sure they can.
I was fully expecting for Ali Koç to come through with a couple of more under the table deals this summer, with a lot of money under the.
Fenerbahce, we're talking about Fenerbahce. He had to pipe up.
Yeah, exactly. Like she heard something again, and there she goes. No, but like I did think I read a quote the other day from Ali Koç. Like, is the Turkish transfer window, is it ending after most of the European leagues? Do you guys?
Ooh, you think it's an ace up his sleeve? Ooh.
No, I seem to remember reading something along the lines of we deliberately asked the TFF to let the window last a little bit beyond the other leagues so that we can still make some deals in those last week or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think you're right there. I believe it ends on the 7th of September.
Yeah, and most of the other leagues will probably close on the 1st. So it's possible that there's still a couple of players that didn't get offloaded in the transfer window that then suddenly become available at discounted prices, and maybe Ali Koç is planning on shopping in the discount bin.
Kind of the Abubakars, like remember
Yeah.
last year, and
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
Abubakar
yeah.
like made
Gazal?
our window last year. So.
Yeah, Gazal.
Or Gazal, crap,
Yeah. I mean, Gazal was
Forgot
the
about that.
Gazal was the deadline day move that ended up, So I think Ali
But-
Koç is not done yet.
But I mentioned Abubakar too because I think he's a guy who Porto would have liked to have offloaded, and I think it sort of dawned on them that he was stuck, so they just let him go.
Yeah.
And that's how we could just swoop in, and he ended up being, in that sense, a very valuable move, obviously.
So I think Trabzon and Beşiktaş are probably largely done this window. Galatasaray, I expect. I don't know. Like Özer, what are you thinking? Like, what's the latest that you're hearing? Is Galatasaray still in the market for a specific position?
I think so. I mean, if you look at as I mentioned before, we spent 20 million, but still, the striker position is still up for debate. We don't have a number 10. The wingers are kind of. I mean, I don't think we can easily say this is Galatasaray's 11. And Terim referred to this in the post-match conference at the end of the game yesterday, saying that we still might sign players. So I don't know where this money is coming from. I don't know where this desire.
I can answer that.
To cover everything up is coming from. But yeah,
No, but according to the TFF limits, so Galatasaray's Champions League money from last year is counting toward their limit this year, and that's why you're seeing Galatasaray spending 20-something million, whereas Beşiktaş, Fenerbahçe, and Trabzon are spending like between 5 and 7 million. And the reason for that is because Galatasaray have that movement space from the Champions League, and I also think that, I mean, this is how I would do it as if I was Burak Elmas, probably thinking, well, we won't have Champions League next season, most likely. Even if we do, we'll have to play qualifiers, so it won't be a guarantee, because next season the champion has to play qualifiers. So I think what he's doing is actually kind of smart. Like, in the past, we saw Galatasaray, like, spend big, but then go for older players. But now, they're actually, like, like I said, I really like Sasha Boy so far. Like, we have to see how Chicaldao has an impact, and that defender from Copenhagen.
Nelson, yep. Yeah, again,
but,
another big money signing.
But young players, right? Like, they're like 20, 22, 24. Like, those are all moves for the future. Like, I mean, also it depends on how they'll ultimately end up settling. But those are transfers for the next 3, 4, 5 years where you can build a new team around. And I kind of get where
sell them for you can actually make a huge profit.
Yeah, sell them or just build the foundations of a team around it. Like, you remember Besiktas in 2013-14, like they had that skeleton of the team that ultimately ended up being the champions like a couple of years down the road, and that's maybe what Galatasaray are trying to do now and that's, I mean, it doesn't feel like reckless spending to me. Like, in the past, I've always felt like Galatasaray was quite reckless with their money, and now I kind of feel like, yes, it's a lot of money, but they're investing it in players that are potentially going to be worth more in the future and still very young.
I've actually been low-key jealous of you guys.
Really?
Because of guys like Mohamed and now Sasha Boy. You guys are really getting the right profile for our clubs, I think, because we are at a point where, like, the rest of the Super League are getting more money than they ever have before, and so they've been able to invest in ways they haven't. And we, having all the debts and the FFP stuff, have had to become way more creative. So I think your guys' approach is really, like, we've done it minimally vis-a-vis, like, Rosier, obviously, and stuff. But and we've done a little more, I think, with our academy in terms of, like, Ersin and Ridvan than you guys. But
yeah, but that's also like
hand,
a once in a blue moon thing, right?
Well, I know, and that's what I mean. It's not so sustainable, perhaps. I mean, it should be, but on the other hand, given Turkey, it's not. But for you guys, like that, I think for a transfer profile, that's spot on. I think that's what we need.
I get your logic, absolutely, actually, and I'm trying to think of a way to word this delicately. But I think I'm not against the logic. I'm more questionable or fearful about the hands that these new players are going into. Do we have the right coaching staff to develop these players and get the best out of them?
Fair.
Or are they going to wait?
Fair.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say. Like, I would have, if I was in Burak Elmas's shoes, then I would have probably gone for Okan in the summer and tried to establish not just a
wholesale change.
Exactly, like not just invest in talented players, but also invest in a new youthful coach. Like, I mean, Okan, let's say it doesn't. Okay, it's always possible it doesn't work out, but let's say that you can. That Okan does work out. I'm not saying like win the league straight away and stuff like that, but you can build something over the course of a couple of years. Like, Okan is 46 or something like that, 48. I think he's from 1973. So like he's a young coach. He just won the league 2 years ago with Başakşehir. Like, he's proven himself already a little bit. He's without a club right now, and like,
that's a more modern brand.
That's a guy that you can 5 years, 10 years, you can build a new generation with him. Whereas with Fatih Terim, like, realistically, I mean, it's Turkey, so maybe in 10 years he'll still be coaching Galts, right? But like, realistically speaking, like, this is the last couple of years of his career, right? Like, it should be
back on the NG by then.
And maybe another stint at the national team, but.
You're totally right, and he's also proven himself to a degree in Europe. Look, we talked about this before the show when he was at Başakşehir. He led them to winning 2-1 against United, which effectively knocked them out of the Champions League. That was match day 3. He took them to the one stage behind the quarterfinal in the Europa League. If it wasn't for the COVID break and everything, maybe things would have changed. They were 1-0 up, if I'm not mistaken, against Copenhagen in the first leg. So, he's proven his credentials. He's also won the league. What more can you ask for? And he's come up from Galatasaray. What more can you ask for from the future of the club? And that's big, potentially a big missed opportunity for the club.
I don't know how good Okan
agree.
is with young players. That's a different matter. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, he didn't. It's not like he had a young team at Başakşehir.
True.
So that's something like. But I don't know. Like, I think it's worth more investing in that. Like, I don't feel like with Fatih Terim, like his track record the last 6 years or so. Like, has he really made any players better? Like, apart from the odd exception, like, who has he really enhanced? Like, he's always
Well,
just
and
had
just-
really good players, and yeah.
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 Well, and to circle back to your point about Okan too, like I'm less worried about his ability to deal with youngsters just based on the fact that he, like I was sort of saying earlier, he plays a much more modern brand of football, and so even if he's not like, man to man or whatever, like great with the kids, at least he's trying to play a brand of football that they're gonna want to play in, and that sort of suits their era and their generation. So I feel like even just that fact alone puts him in better standing with youngsters, at least than Fatih Terim.
Yeah. Agree.
And what about you, Jakub? Your feelings about how the Trabzonspor team are coming together? Also, I think you ended it last season on a pretty positive note with Abdullah Avci doing quite well with Trabzonspor. What are your expectations this season with the transfers that you did make, and just in general, how are you feeling about the team?
I'm quietly optimistic, because I can never fully trust Trabzonspor, because I probably have my heart broken for the last 20 years plus. So it forms a little bit. I think that we did pretty well. The only thing that I'm really worried about is what I also said before, is that the new transfers have pretty. I mean, you won't. They aren't like Falcao or Belhanda wages, but they add up. If you pay everyone 2.2 million a year, it starts to add up. But on the other side, the Hamsik and Gervinho contracts, which are like 2.2 and 2.1 million a year, are only 2-year deals. So you aren't stuck for a long time. But I think that we did well. We are still in contention to get a defender. There was that one guy that was playing at Brugge, I think, Simon Daly or something like that. That he was linked a lot with Trabzonspor. That fell through, and now they are supposedly going back for it. I think we still need a left back.
You got Ismail Kobashi, man.
Yeah, I like Ismail. I think that Ismail is great at what he does, but you don't need to spread him too thin. I think he's a Umut Bulut type of player. Not the greatest player, but runs his lungs out and can do that one particular thing very well. But I don't want him as a starting left back, even though our starting left back should be Tronson when he's fully match fit. You can even call him a new transfer, which I think he's pretty good. He's a midfielder that has.
I thought he was a midfielder. I was going to say.
Yeah, he's a midfielder, but he has played. He's the reverse Dorukan. he plays as a left back. He played a lot of positions back before we got him, and he can play pretty decent left back. And
Swiss
being
Army
a
knife.
natural.
Or Swedish Army knife.
Yeah.
Or
Being
he's Norwegian.
Utility
Yeah.
player.
Norwegian.
Yeah, and being a midfielder, having that vision, having that passing know-how helps a lot when you're. Trabzonspor tend to play with attacking backs, so I think it's a good transfer season. I'm very happy that we finally got Cornelius. We got Koita for way too much money. He earns like 1.4 million, and he has been injured like the day he was transferred.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, I just don't match.
Not necessarily getting him, but like just the money being paid. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I told that famous Beşiktaşlı friend of mine, and he said, yeah, that's like the Fikret Orman way of transferring. They are giving massive wages, but they are saying, hey, but at least we didn't pay any transfer fees. I think that's
Yes,
I think that's what Trabzonspor is trying to do.
Yeah,
But
doesn't work.
No, I still think that Uğurcan should go. I really wish him a big transfer, and
There was
we
some
talked with
rumored
Joe.
interest from Lille, right? And Lille was supposedly interested in both Uğurcan and Altay because their
Yeah.
goalkeeper went to Milan to replace
Yeah, but-
Donnarumma, who went to PSG.
Yeah, but they already got a goalkeeper like 2 days ago or something.
Okay, that's
I
unfortunate.
think that with Uğurcan there is a lot of interest, but Trabzonspor doesn't want to, give him away for peanuts, so to say. And because he is like the next big transfer after Yusuf, they are really trying to take everything that they can, which I can understand. But it's it's starting to annoy me a little bit.
What would you
because,
say is an acceptable fee for Uğurcan?
I mean, if you get like 15 plus, it's okay. Yeah, if you
That's
can,
a lot
if
for
you
a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but he's worth it. I think if you can get him for like 15 plus, I kind of like the transfer that Yusuf did, like 15, and then you tack on like an appearances bonus. So if he plays 40 games or something, you get another mil, and then you get like 20% or 15% from the next sale, and that's okay. But
I was gonna say 15 when he asked you that question. That was the first number that popped into my head. So
yeah,
I
because
support you.
Turkish fans tend to be emotional, and then they tend to overrate their players, and they think that every player is at least like 30 million. But you have to be realistic.
I mean, if I'm honest, I think 15 is a lot. I think it's too much for a goalkeeper. Like,
well, bear in mind, dude, Doğan Alemdar, right, who was just bought by Rennes from
3.5.
Kayseri, right? He
But
went
I mean-
for like 7 mil. Was
No,
it?
no, 3.5.
No, like 3.5.
3.5.
Oh, I thought it was like
But-
6.
No,
Maybe
no,
it
no.
was
Yeah,
maybe it was a different currency.
3.5 plus 20% on next
Yeah,
sale.
the next sale bonus is just unbelievable. The clause, the 15 or 20%. That's the way that you're getting your money. Because he has to play like 10 good games in France, and he probably doubles his value.
Definitely.
But the thing is with goal, like,
I like
for
him.
for
He's a
Yusuf,
great
you guys got like 18 million for Yusuf, right? But then, like, I like, no matter how good Uğurcan is, I think 15 is a lot for a goalkeeper. Like, for years, Buffon had the record of being the most expensive goalkeeper for 25 million euros, and that record stood for like 15 years or something. And the last couple of years,
broken like twice in one transfer.
yeah.
So,
But I mean, then who is breaking those records? Like, we have to look at who are the realistic clubs that are going to be going after someone like Uğurcan. That's going to be like the mid to sub top in France, right? And those teams aren't paying 20 million euros for a goalkeeper. They're not paying 15 million euros, right? They're paying like 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. They're not like. I think that's kind of where Trabzonspor may be making a mistake. Like, the same thing, I feel the same way about Ersin, for example. Like, Ersin obviously not at the level that Uğurcan is at, but like, I think if you can get like a 7, 8 million for Ersin, that's a good fee. Because
I want 10.
he's a goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, I want 10, I want 12, but like, you're not going to get that realistically. They don't pay that type of money for goalkeepers most of the
But well,
time.
bear in mind with Uğurcan too that he is sort of the established starter for the Turkish national team, which bearing in mind their faltering.
Yeah,
in,
I mean,
in
I think the
Euro-
bad
Euro
Euros that
Euro-
Turkey. I think
Euro
Uğurcan is
Cup.
very much the victim of the bad Euros that Turkey played. I think if Turkey would have
Yeah,
had a good.
I don't think he bears the brunt for that, honestly. And I think at the end of the day, that sort of them being propped up as a dark horse and all of that, and especially being notorious for their defense, probably benefits him more. Like, I think you can be like, whatever, it was a bad tournament for the whole team. It's probably not his fault individually or something. Like, I think you could excuse paying a little more for what you would assume to be instantly a starting keeper, and being as young as he is. If you're a big enough club,
you're underestimating.
Keep him.
I think you're underestimating that because, like, Uğurcan, like against Italy, like, his footwork got a little bit exposed. Like, I think it's unfair, the criticism he's received. But I do think that if, let's say, Lille or Nice or something, they pay 15 million euros, I think a lot of people in France are going to say, wait, you're paying that much money for that goalkeeper that doesn't know how to kick a ball? Like, I think there's going to be a lot of scrutiny of that transfer if he goes for that much. I think clubs are aware of that. I don't think you should underestimate that. I think if Uğurcan had played a good... There's the donkey. If Uğurcan had played a good Euros, I think he would have gone for 15 million probably. But like, he's suffering the entire team.
Yeah, I think that he's also stuck because you have players like Onana who are pretty much in a, they are free.
Yeah.
Did Onana transfer? No, he didn't. Did
I
he?
think Lyon wanted him, right? But he's not allowed to play yet, is he?
Yeah, so players like him, the goalkeeper market is just a little bit oversaturated. So, the good goalkeeper market that you can get for a decent fee. So I think that he's kind of a victim, if you can call him a victim, of those circumstances. But I tend to be realistic when it comes to transfer fees. I like to think that I tend to be, but I don't think that the 20 million is way too much. I think that 50 million is okay. But I kind of can agree with you that
I'm not saying he's not worth it. That's not what I'm saying. I just think
I
that
know.
it's a player from the Turkish league. If you look at the record fees paid for players from the Turkish league, like 15 million would put him right up there in the top 5 or something, of all-time highest transfer fees.
But you could argue that he's probably the right type of profile to be one of those guys, given already his relatively high profile, his age, etc. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it logically, right? If I'm a big club, if I'm playing FIFA, for example, and I'm like, a Lyon, not a top tier club, but that kind of like second/third tier, I feel like getting a guy like Urjan, you're putting in a bit of an investment, but it's like theoretically, if everything works out, and of course that's true of any transfer, it's like buying the backbone of your team for. Again, if you're a big enough club, maybe for the next 15 years.
But
right?
is the lack of interest for Urjan comparable for the seeming lack of interest for Kyle Larin, for example? Like, that's also something that's kind of baffling me. The fact that clubs aren't lining up for him and aren't lining up for Urjan and aren't lining up for... who else? There's a couple of those guys. But like, for me, Larin and Urjan are probably the biggest. And Altay maybe also to an extent.
Yeah, there was talks about Altay and a potential Inter move, but I think that a lot of the news that filters down to social media tends to be just hopeful of a move, and just guesstimating, so to say, and
that's a nice one.
I think that they will find the transfers. I do, now that you mentioned it, I do find it pretty odd that that Larin has no connections to any team, or
Is that an Mbappe? Is that an Mbappe mini, like a mini Mbappe, where Mbappe is just refusing to extend and just knows he's going to Real Madrid already next season? Maybe Larin has.
I think Kyle Larin basically said, "Don't put in your bids yet. My contract's running out, and I can join. Whoever."
Yeah,
who
knows?
Want.
Like maybe he wants a chance in the Champions League this season, and next season he goes to Marseille or something, for free. And he
because Marseille actually that's maybe exactly the club. Marseille or Everton are the two that I've heard a few rumors about over the last.
I don't think Everton will be signing a Besiktas striker anytime soon.
Maybe someone.
That's right.
I don't think they want to burn themselves twice. With all the.
There was another British, like, was it like Burnley or something? There was a smaller English side that was.
Have you guys seen? I know Umut's pointed it out a few times, but what do you think of Watford's midfield?
Yeah, they got Kuchka, they got Ozan, and Etebo, right?
Yeah, Etebo,
yeah.
Kuchka,
Ozan. It's like former Super League.
Yeah, and then who?
Trio.
They still have a defender, Ekong. What's his name? Also another Super League player. I think Watford are going to relegate this season.
Is that where you're going with
that? Yeah. I don't think that midfield is not very promising. I think. I mean, no. I am a. I'm a big fan and a hater of Ozan Tufan. Like, I think when he's playing to his potential, he's a fantastic player, but he's such a lazy bastard, man. Like,
if he's not chubby.
I heard again that he came to the training camp. He was overweight again and stuff like that. It infuriates me that as a professional footballer, I'm not in the greatest shape of my life, but I don't get paid to be.
Yeah, no.
So exactly. I have that excuse, but
me too, and I'm sticking to it.
Ozan on a great day is really good, but it's so hard to motivate him, and we saw that he didn't have the best Euros either.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
hope
I had
for
him on my
his sake
fantasy
that he
team.
does well.
I thought he had a bad Euros. Like for
Terrible
Urjan,
Euros.
Urjan I think is
He
kind
was
of
the
the
one I
victim
expected
of.
the most from.
Yeah, I mean not the most, but like for me, Urjan was kind of
For
the
me, the
victim of
most.
the
Let's
bad
just
team
say it.
performance. But Ozan was for me one of the main sore thumbs sticking out. Like just walking the entire time, not giving a rat's ass, and just being like, Ozan on the, that was just. I don't understand how you can go to the Euros, represent your nation, and then be that uninterested.
And Khan, I'm sure you recall, but last season in both of our encounters with Fenerbahce, he just ripped us apart.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
only reason
He always
the only
does.
reason they were competitive with us
Yeah.
is because of him.
Yeah.
And so I literally put him on my fantasy team.
He's like
And
Rodallega does always well against Besiktas.
Yeah.
What
No.
is that? Is he just he wanted
mean-
us to sign him? Like, what is that?
It's funny because
I hate it.
Aaron's tweet was like something like, this tweet like also not sent out like a thank you to the big Fenerbahce family, blah blah blah, and Aaron said something along the lines of this won't age well or something in 2 years when he signs for Besiktas, and I was like, yeah, that's probably true. No, I mean, I'm pretty confident that he's gonna end up at Besiktas at some point because let's be honest, like he was gonna go to Besiktas from Bursa. And then Bursa leveraged that to get a better offer from Fener and then kind of forced him to go to Fener because he wanted to go to Besiktas to continue with Channel. And I think it's just always been a bad marriage because of that. Like he's never had a coach. Like I think the biggest issue is he's never had a coach to kick him up his ass at Fenerbahce. He's I mean,
I guess Sergen could have been good for him, right? Sergen would have beat his ass.
I mean, Sergen's the one that rehabilitated him at Alanyaspor. Like, Fener were ready to bin him and give up on him. And they sent him on loan to Alanya, and Sergen's the one that rehabilitated him. If it wasn't for Sergen, Ozan Tufan's career would have been over. I mean, over, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and
like Henri Zespor or something.
Yeah, I mean, Ozan Tufan, just another example of why you shouldn't go after your rivals. You should. I mean, obviously, if you feel like it's a good signing, go for him. I'm not saying like if Galatasaray are interested in, let's call Arda Kizilda from against Sterbeli and they need a central defender, and Beşiktaş are interested in Arda Kizilda and because they need a central defender, by all means. But like, Fener have this tendency of going after players just because the other teams are interested, and they want
just out of spite.
Not necessarily out of spite, but just to prevent a good player to go to another team. Like they did the same thing with Mehmet Topuz back in the day. They did the same thing with Miroslav Stoch. They've done it.
Mehmet Topuz they're my eternal rivals because of Mehmet Topuz. Still, I can't.
I think the most ridiculous example is just like a year or two ago. You remember when Sivasspor was at the top of the table in January, and they were gonna sign Fallet, and Fenerbahce signed Fallet just so that Sivasspor couldn't sign him. Like it's like you're 660 million in debt, and you're wasting your money on that. It's ridiculous.
So petty.
It's fun. He's back in the league now too, right?
And Anderlecht used to do that as well back in the day in Belgium, and look where they are now. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's stupid. Just buy players that you need, not players that you don't want other people to have.
The kings of pettiness, man. What are you gonna do?
We weren't gonna do this, guys.
Exactly. Hey, so I was looking at Gaziantep's roster because we're playing them next, Beşiktaş.
Yeah.
And I came across the name of Recep Niaz, who, if anyone recalls, was once upon a time a Turkish Messi when he was like 18.
Oh yes.
Yeah, one of the failed guys at Fener.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to put together a little list of failed Turkish Messis. You guys remember Onur Bayramoğlu? Was it? There was a.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's a number of.
But I don't know if he was a Turkish Messi, but yeah, he was.
That might not be. There was another guy
at some point.
There was a really. I can't remember the kid's name. He had a really long name, and then he didn't. Just completely disappeared.
You have the usuals ones. You have like Mohamed Demirci is one that I always to quote. Recep Niaz was one. You had that guy that played at Galatasaray back when I think Emre
Aydin Yilmaz?
No, not Aydin Yilmaz. He was
one too though.
If Umut was here, he probably immediately.
You had Barış Memić.
Yeah, Barış.
Oh
Memić.
yeah.
Barış Memić was supposed to be the next
Gökdeniz, yeah. Like those next big things. Let's just call them the next big things, not necessarily even the next Messis. Özcan Özgürcan was one. Cafer Can Aksu was one.
Cafer Can Aksu, yeah.
Batu and Karadin is, of course, was one of those next big things. Not the next Messi, but the next big
He's
thing.
destroying with Hekimola at this moment.
Yeah,
but
in the
they are
third,
like
or
in the
third or fourth
something.
league. Yeah.
My co-host for the on the Black Eagles podcast is a huge Mohamed Demirci fanboy. Still, he's always like, he's actually really good in the League One. Like I was like,
he doesn't play, but he's really good.
Like 27 or something.
Mohamed
He
is
like watches him. He like watches him.
He's like 20.
He's like watching Istanbul Sport. Like
I don't
2
even
years
think
ago.
he's 20. I think he's like 25 or 26 or something.
He's
Like
yeah.
his passport says 1995, but I think he is officially 1997. Like it's actually from 1997. He changed his passport with his older brother or something to be able to play professional quicker or something like that.
There was that one player that you guys didn't know about. I'm forgetting his name. He was the first Turkish player to play for Barcelona. He went there when I think Louis van Gaal was there, but he never amounted to anything. He played for a season or something at Trabzonspor. Seyit Cem Akpınar or something like that.
Don't even know that name, honestly.
Seyit Cem
I was gonna say, it
Ünsal.
could be NS Unal in a couple of years.
You know
but
what?
Not,
I think
not Barcelona.
I think this is familiar. I think I tweeted about this guy a while ago.
Yeah, he was at
He was in
he
the
was at
news.
Kayseri, then Gençler Birliği, then he was loaned out then he played at some team in South Korea, and then he was transferred to Barcelona,
Korea.
where he was. There's like a picture of him with I think Guardiola and stuff playing on the same team. But not maybe the next Messi. Yeah, there's a picture of him with Figo. It looks like Guardiola, but I don't think so. Luis Enrique and
This
There are a
reminds
lot
me
of
of a funny story. Like Özcan, Özer and Sinan and me, we used to be on this forum like 12, 14, 15 years ago called Soccer Fans Network. And there you remember there was this guy, it's like a Galatasaray fan, Finn Aslan, and then a couple of other guys. And there was this video of the supposed next big Turkish talent, and he was playing in the youth of Real Madrid and stuff. And he had like put these videos up on YouTube of himself supposedly. And these guys, they went like all Inspector Gadget on his ass and like uncovered that it was all fake. But like this, don't you remember that?
I remember that.
This guy was getting some
He was
actual.
like a young kid.
He was
who
getting
trialed around
traction.
different clubs.
Yeah. And he played for Real Madrid and for Inter Milan. And he had like all like these YouTube compilations and stuff. And like there was actually like I believe the media picked up on it and everything. And then those guys in Soccer Fans Network they exposed him.
Yes, I do remember that scandal. That was so fun.
We caught him, yeah.
Yeah. That was like in 2009
by the
or
way,
something.
Jakub, do not look up Turkish Messi on Google. You don't want to know who they've dubbed the next one.
Oh, who?
Oh god.
probably
Abdulkadir
Abdulkadir, well,
It's
yeah,
all-
Oh.
So first it's all like how the new Messi from Turkey ruined his career, and it's about Emre Mor. So
Yeah.
that's done.
We forgot
Now-
him.
Yeah, exactly. And so then there's Omur is apparently next. They're all chatting him up. And then there's like one old one, and it's Mohamed Demirci.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in here.
The OG Turkish Messi, Mohamed Demirci. Where were we, guys? We kind of went off track there.
Yeah, we're off topic.
We
We've lost
started
it.
with Recep Niyaz at
Right,
Denizlispor.
Recep Niyiz.
That's right.
In
Gaziantep.
Gaziantep,
Gazishehir.
Yeah.
Talking about Gaziantep, they had Sagal last year, who I
Yeah.
thought that could be a pretty good player for like a top 4 team. I think that he would do pretty okay at Beşiktaş, but I don't know where he went.
He was playing last week, but he got a red card.
Yeah, he got
He got a
went on-
goal and then a
Yeah,
red card.
Yeah, he went to Gaziantep.
Yeah.
He who
Where
giveth.
was he
takes
playing?
away.
Denizli or something?
Yeah, he was at Denizli.
Denizli,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. He was
Talking
pretty
about transfers, Çaykur Rize has acquired Boyd from you guys.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd. Yeah, I just.
Oh, is it
saw them
official?
Just
Wow.
yeah,
Oh,
they
like
just announced
flash
it.
news.
Yeah.
Also, one of the disappointments at Beşiktaş, I think. A lot of people thought that he would do
Oh yeah,
much
I had
better.
a lot of expectations for him, and I think it's a shame that he is going to Rizespor now. Like he should have stayed with Sivas, but he didn't want to. He wanted to go back. He wanted to stay at Beşiktaş, and now I think Sivas got Pedro Henrique and stuff in the meantime. Like Riza Çalınbay really wanted him with the team. Like it's a shame because I think at Sivaspor he could actually, like I think Sivas are gonna be contenders for Europe again this season compared to Riza. Although don't underestimate Riza, they made some good moves this season, but I don't know. It feels like a step down from Sivasspor for him.
I feel bad for Tyler Boyd.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
know that he ever got his chance. I thought he played well when he initially arrived, and he had that nasty injury, the concussion with Samasa.
Yeah.
And then, it's just a bunch of bad luck. Like, even now, I would love if he could be on the team, but then you look at, we've got Gazal,
if he had
and Larin,
if he could count as if there wasn't a foreign limit, or if he would count as a Turkish player, I would have him in the team in a heartbeat. I really like Tyler Boyd. He's a good football. He's not in special, but he's a good, solid footballer, and works
he's
really
a hard
hard.
Worker.
Yeah, exactly. He has a
he's
good
always
head.
in all the training photos, working.
Good head on his shoulders, good attitude. Just wants to work for it. He just wants a chance, and I feel really bad for him. He just lacks a little bit. I think if he was just a little bit faster or a little bit, I don't know, he's
more technical. Or
I don't know, missing that little extra. But I really like him.
It could
I wish him all
develop
the best.
still, honestly, with consistent playing time in the Super League. I think he was quite solid. Whenever he's not playing with us, when he goes somewhere else, he looks solid. Whenever he gets a chance.
It was good. It was good at
contributes.
Sivas. It was good at Sivas. Yeah.
He had a pretty big match. Didn't he have a hat trick or no? He had 2 goals in a match or something.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. So we
Let's
spoke about everything. Let's quickly talk about Beşiktaş. Pretty much improved their squad of last season, I think. Right, retained almost everyone except for Abubakar, and then got Batshuayi this weekend instead. What do you guys expect from Beşiktaş?
I'm uncomfortable with how good our transfer
window
was.
Me too.
Usually it's we've screwed it. We're definitely here comes Fenerbahce with another title, whatever. Yeah. And then we overperform.
I feel like it's one of those. I feel like it's set up for failure. Best transfer window we've ever had, probably. So it has to go wrong. That's how I feel right now. I just
it's shades of the Portuguese trio, right?
Yeah, 2010, 2011 flashbacks for me, or even the 2017-18 when I thought we had a really strong squad and then just doesn't amount to trophies. Translate. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it, Özer or Jakub. What do you think of the?
I'm really impressed. I mean, Sergen means business in Europe and in Turkey. So this is a seriously impressive team. I think both, as I said at the start of the show, both Beşiktaş and Trabzon have really pulled out some great deals this year, and you guys have really strengthened your team. Alex Teixeira as well, who is a Champions League. He has so much Champions League pedigree with Shakhtar. He was absolutely amazing. I remember watching him before he moved to China. It was so impressive. So to have the likes of him, Batshuayi, plus the core of the team that you already have is really impressive stuff.
Yeah, and apparently not done yet. Even Kaan Ayhan still being mentioned quite seriously, and then Beşiktaş still Laj has been dropped from the squad, and they want to bring in.
Can we talk about that? Why is that exactly? I love Laj. He's such a good player.
I don't know. Yeah. I hate it.
Too much. Hate that too. Too expensive. Sergen doesn't want to play with. Doesn't. I think Sergen.
I don't know about that.
Like a player to me. He seemed perfect.
I do too.
For Beşiktaş.
You would think so,
right?
And
the way he sort of fixed him last year, I thought it really. I don't know, man.
Nah.
I don't like it. I don't like how we devalue our guys because.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
We always bring in guys before. You know what I mean?
I also don't like. I don't like the Turkish politics of, hey, we want you to leave because you earn too much money, so we're gonna drop you from the team and you have to train alone.
It's his fault, right?
Same happened with Galatasaray, Falcao and Feghouli. The Burak Yilmaz comes out and says, he's earning too much money, $9.5 million per year. Well, that's not his fault. He didn't sign his own contract. He didn't.
He signed it, but he didn't force the club. He
didn't come into Florio with a gun and demand $9.5 million. We gave it to him. Let the guy play. Let the guy play. Laj is a proven playmaker in Serie A. He came to Beşiktaş with such high hopes.
Yeah.
It was a shame.
Frankly, he's done enough for us to make me hate the fact that last year when he wasn't playing for the first half of the year, I was furious about it, and I was thrilled when it was sort of announced he was coming back because it was almost like getting a top transfer. He's that impactful.
He had an impact. He didn't have a ridiculous amount of assists and goals, but he definitely contributed. And when he got injured with his shoulder, that was a loss for us. I felt
For sure.
I think he only ended the season at 3 assists and 2 goals or something like that. But he did enhance the football we were playing. That's something we were lacking in the first half of the season. That creativity in midfield, and he added that. even though he may
Khan.
be. Yeah.
The Khan Ihan move, by the way, I just got total deja vu about when we got Kedem Fry, which was like the icing on the cake for that. Remember? Speaking of that transfer that went bust, Kedem Fry was like the icing on the cake for that one, right?
He's
like,
back
he's
in
a Turk.
he's back in Turkey, isn't he? He's Malatya, I
Is he
think.
out of wasn't he in like Israel last year?
He's at Karagümrük.
Is he?
Karagümrük. Yeah, he was in Holland
he?
last season. He was playing
Where is he?
for. Who was he playing for in the Netherlands?
I want to say Cambuur, but I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
no,
for sure.
Cambuur. Yeah, you're right. Cambuur, FC Cambuur. Yeah. And
He said
and then he
Karagümrük.
went the year before or 2 years before that he was in Israel.
No, he was in Emmen. Sorry.
FC
FC Emmen.
Emma, right?
Emmons,
Yeah.
Emmons, yeah, exactly.
Sorry, yeah. I say, yeah, right.
I don't know
FC
why
Cambuur.
Cambuur.
No, FC Emma, Cambuur, same thing, right? Don't they even have the same colors or something? red and yellow? No?
But yellow and blue is
yellow and blue.
is Cambuur, and red and white is Emmen.
Ah, okay. I'm literally getting them mixed up. No, but he's back. Yeah, no, but I don't know. Like, I just have this. I feel like what we said about Fenerbahce earlier. Like, Beşiktaş haven't spent that much money because, like, Gezal is being paid a lot. Teixeira is being paid a lot, and Batshuayi are being paid a lot. But apart from that, like, the wages are pretty respectable. Like Salih Uçan, 800,000 euros. Kenan, 900,000 euros. Rosier, 1.350 or something. Which is, that's a decent contract, but I think he's definitely worth it. The wages being given apart from those three big signings are pretty respectable. And then
and even the big three signings you just mentioned, it's not like we paid. It's not like a Ljajic or even a Vida or or even like a Germain Lens.
I feel like
Batshuayi is a lot though.
Yeah. Batshuayi is making like 3 million. That's definitely a lot of money.
But he's also just a 1-year loan, so
yeah. But let's say he does really well. Like Beşiktaş are gonna try and keep him, right? And then they're gonna have to pay like 10 million euros, and I mean, I guess like 2.5 million at least. But I mean, if he proves worth it,
they'll probably cut his fee though, his wage rather. Sorry about
if he would be
sirens
willing.
over here.
That's better than a donkey and a dog barking.
I was gonna say it's really the two opposite extremes. You have the New York sounds of like sirens.
Yeah, and I have
your rural Belgian donkeys.
Yeah.
Just before we started, the U.S. Navy Blue Angels were flying over my place as well.
Hey, there you go.
Look at these guys showing off with their modern technology background noises. And I'm stuck in the barn.
It's like someone being carted to the hospital with COVID, right? It's like, look at our fancy New York. I'm kidding.
But to circle back, like for me, I kind of feel like Beşiktaş have to be champions this year. Like this squad, not winning the title with this team is like would be almost a travesty. Like, I mean, and it's kind of weird because last season I think Sergen did the unthinkable with the team that he got. Like, I mean, in hindsight, sure, he had quality, but like going into the season, I don't think anyone expected Beşiktaş to be the champions, and he kind of did the unthinkable. And then now it kind of feels like the opposite, where like, you kept your squad from last season, and that's also one of the reasons why Sergen didn't extend straight away. Like, he was playing hardball with the board. Like, he didn't just want to go into the Champions League with a team that had no chance, and that's one of the things he really hammered home in the negotiations. Like, he wanted certain guarantees, and Alex Teixeira was one of the players that was a number one player on his list, and he got them, and now like he's got everything. I think like this the first time
he's got to deliver.
He does.
I can't believe it, dude. I really thought there was no way we could keep both Rosier and Gazelle. First of all, my whole thing was like, let's at least keep the squad intact.
Let's keep one of the two. Was the rationale most people had. And then
to keep both, and then add Alex Teixeira, and then add Batshuayi. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of blown away, and like you said, quite scared because
and Kenan and Salih, who I think are both really great additions, and then maybe even Kaan Ayhan, who's also, I think Kaan Ayhan is like a rich man's Najib.
I don't know how we're doing it. I don't know how we're doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like Najib, only good.
Yeah, it's a good
only
comparison.
good. He's like Najib, only good.
I honestly think that Kenan Karaman is maybe the best transfer you guys got this year, because he has that low expectation. You know, Teixeira, Batshuayi are probably like better players.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Kenan, his value is going to be in how little pressure there is on him and how relatively low his wages are.
Yeah.
Because I really liked Kenan. I really
Mhm.
hope that Trabzonspor got him because he's that hard worker, and I think that he will really thrive in the Turkish league.
Yeah, I mean, the first match you immediately saw it against Rize, like that first goal is all Kenan. That's just him not giving up on a seemingly lost ball. And, that's that. And I thought he was the man. For me, he was the man of the match against Rize. He just worked so hard. He just was a nightmare for them to deal with the entire match. And he's not a crazy quality player, but he's like, like a Hurs player, a mentality player. And I feel like with Larin, I feel he's the type that he does a lot of work too, but it's all with that idea of to score a goal. And with Kenan, it's more like selfless work for the team and just running your lungs out and hope it ends up into something positive. And I'm really happy with that transfer. Like it's low profile, and I know a lot of people don't really rate him because of the national team, and he plays on the wing a lot there. And when he's playing on the wing, he's usually used as a dirty meter maker. Like he's just used to, like against Italy, like the only thing he did there was defend. And
he did really good, even though we got demolished,
defensively he did
well.
really good, but offensively he didn't do shit. But obviously that he was tasked with just defending, and he had a couple of really good tackles there and stuff. But then people are like, hey, this is a striker, he should be scoring goals and giving assists, and he's shit. But yeah, he just does what the coach asks of him. I think any coach would be happy to have a guy like that on the team.
I'm personally my guy who fits that profile is Salih Uçan. I really like his addition as far as squad depth, especially because you have to have 3 Turks on the pitch at all times.
And that's also
you're
why
gonna have
like,
that need.
Besiktas are being linked with Gedson Fernandes, and Gedson is obviously an amazing footballer, but I'm kind of like, I don't really want him because I want Salih to play. And okay, Gedson is a better footballer, no argument here, but why should we take Benfica's player, make him maybe worth more money by presenting him in the Champions League so they can sell him next year for 25 million like they did with Anderson Talisca? Like, let's just play Salih. Let Salih play. I mean,
honestly, and just given his affiliations with Galatasaray, I don't want to engage in this petty. I don't want to do this petty nonsense. I was so mad at you guys for messing with Ghazal and Rosier. I don't want to do that. Even if it's like,
that was so unnecessary. Yeah.
Right? I mean, even if it's just trying to like get you back for that, I don't like why. Let's just
cheap.
Just leave it.
I do think that both cases were like, I think Fatih Terim genuinely wanted both players, and I think Sergen genuinely wants Getson, but like, I mean, there's so many fish in the sea. Like, why go after the fish that the other people are fishing for as well? Like, just go for your own targets, man. Don't be lazy.
I would have been much more content going for like an Atebo or something who you guys.
No,
just knowing how much you guys want. I don't know.
I know it's a hypothetical example, but still, yeah.
Anyway. But just someone who got it is not like so intent on bringing back too, right? It just makes the whole thing all the more petty. I feel like.
Anyway, guys, let's round it up. This has been a pretty long episode, I think. Let's get a quick. I'm gonna get your guys' opinion. Let's do a champion this season, and let's do some relegations. Like, you don't have to do 4 relegations, but like 1 or 2 teams you definitely think are gonna go down. And let's get to who do you think is gonna lift the league title this season, or even give the top 5 finish. Let's do it. Let's make it really interesting. Ozar, let's give you top 5 and give like 2 teams you think are gonna go down.
Oh, okay. Go down. Damn. Okay, I'm gonna say Giresunspor to go down and Rize to go down.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. I hope so.
Champions, I'm gonna go Besiktas. Putting the pressure on y'all.
Yeah.
Second place Trabzon. Third place Scala. Fourth place. Let's see here. Fourth place, I'm gonna go with Antalyaspor, just for the hell of it.
Okay.
And fifth, Fenerbahce.
Okay. What about you, Sinan?
Man, the hardest thing to pick is who's going to get relegated. I feel like because
I have a couple.
even like just looking at like Yeni Malatya, I was looking at their roster kind of quickly. They have enough talent that in a normal year you feel like there should be no way they'd be a candidate. But just looking at all the other teams around there, Sivas, no, Adana Demirspor has too much talent now. Gaziantep Gazişehir was like top half last season, I think, right? Like. I mean, Kasim Pasha, like, have they done anything?
They got, they had a good window. Yeah, they got. Some
I know,
good
and that's like, it's weird. Well, they drew, but yeah, it's weird that they
got Jurgensen from Feyenoord. They got.
That dude.
They got Lucassen.
Lucassen, I was gonna say, yeah.
And his brother also plays.
Giresun and Rize are the two safe bets, so I'll roll with same choice there.
All right.
I think the title is gonna be between. I hate to toot our own horn here, but it's got to be between us and Trabzon. Trabzon looks
that's why I think it's gonna be someone else.
I know, right? Watch it be like Fener and Galatasaray.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Also, Kayseri could go down. By the way, that could be a relegation candidate.
That's one of my picks.
Yeah.
I would say Altay, but I don't want to because I love the notion of an Izmir derby in the Super League. I hope we can keep both of those guys up. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with Trabzon, Beşiktaş, and Trabzon as 1 and 2.
But who's the champion?
Beşiktaş.
Okay.
Galatasaray, Fatih Karagümrük, Fenerbahçe. Bam.
Okay. And you, Jakub, what do you
wow,
think?
nice.
My picks are pretty much the same as Sinan's, but I think that I think that Trabzonspor, I think that we will finish the league in top 2. If that's number 1 or number 2, I don't know. I hope number 1. I think that the season will be, as Sinan said, between Trabzonspor and Beşiktaş. I think third will be Galatasaray. If they don't implode, I think they have the biggest chance to implode. Fourth, also Karagümrük, and fifth Fener. The one that I like 1,000,000,000% think that will relegate is Kayserispor. Çaykur Rizespor are traditionally a team that drops down every 2 years and then comes back like the year after. So I think there's a big chance they also drop. And I think that Kasımpaşa is pretty. They immediately fired their coach like before he even coached the game, and then got another guy. Kayserispor did the same thing.
Yeah.
Jurgensen is my guy. They also got Jeffrey Bruma, who's also playing. He's like 55 years old. Yeah. I hope they don't, but I think that Kayseri for sure. Rize probably. I like to think that Giresun will stay. I don't know. The last one is difficult.
There's four relegations. Huh? 4 relegations.
Yeah, I'm staying with those two, and I don't know who the other two will be.
Okay. All right, my pick is for relegation Kayseri. I think Malatya. I don't know. I don't think Rize. I'm low key thinking Göztepe.
That could happen.
I
mean, I hope not though.
I hope not too.
They're
but...
a nice new stadium.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough stuff. I don't know. I haven't seen enough yet to make a proper assessment there. I definitely don't think Altay will go down. I think they'll stay up.
Hope so. Yeah.
And I don't know about Giresun. Like they didn't look bad to me against Galatasaray, but then I think like they didn't look bad as a team, but they lacked quality. So maybe they need like a transfer or two or something. So maybe Giresun. Yeah. And then for my champion, I know everyone is thinking it's gonna be between Beşiktaş and Trabzonspor, and that is why I think it's gonna be someone else. And normally I would say Galatasaray because I still think Fatih Terim, like despite the fact that he's kind of like not a modern coach and all that, but I don't know. I think Fenerbahce.
Turkey's not a modern league. That's
no, exactly.
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe Fener with shenanigans. I don't know. I find it a very. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. You know what? I'm not gonna be the. I'll just say what I kind of low key hope and expect is Beşiktaş, but Trabzon are really good as well. So if Trabzon can sort out their defensive issues, then yeah, it's a tough one. Beşiktaş is gonna have Champions League. Trabzon probably not competing in Europe. Yeah, maybe Trabzon, and then Beşiktaş second. Who's gonna end third? I think Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray, and then Sivasspor. Or maybe Adana Demir. I don't know. I don't know about Adana Demir, but I think Adana Demir's top 8, top 7, but not top 5. I don't think they'll go to Europe. So I'm gonna stick with.
I have to say this. I have to make a note here because, like, live on air, Kayserispor is hosting Adana Demirspor right now. We've all picked Kayserispor to relegate,
and they're winning, right?
Adana Demirspor in top 5.
Not me, yeah.
It's halftime. Kayseri is winning 1-0.
Oh.
Of course
and
they are.
That Gökhan Sazdai guy who scored against us in the preseason con, he's scored. So he's 26. He's a number 10. I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah, me neither.
Like even remotely, and he seems to be pretty good.
Never write off Hikmet Hoca.
Yeah, true. Hikmet Karaman's another one of those old stamp coaches that always does well.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's all
but
change our.
It's worth noting, Adana has 65% of the ball going into the half. So
I think
they
one of their
maybe don't deserve to be losing.
Their main issue is probably also the fact that Balotelli can't play a full game yet. Like he seems to get subbed off at 60 minutes, like in the preseason and in the first match. Like I kind of felt like after they took him off against Fenerbahce, like there was still pressure, but it didn't really have a direction, so to speak.
He brings a fear factor, because there's mystery. And he took a shot.
It's not just mystery. Balo is just top striker. When he wants to, he's just great. Anyway,
did you see the force he saved against Altay last week?
Yeah. That's like I said, Altay was really good. Like he won them points, and that's maybe also kind of why I don't want to write Fenerbahce off for the title, because Altay and like they are lacking. I feel like Fener are lacking a lot, whereas I feel like Beşiktaş and Trabzonspor kind of have they have like some minor weaknesses like Ensakala, like Serkan and stuff. But in large part, I feel like they have quite complete teams. Whereas Fenerbahce still haven't solved their striker issue. They still seem to lack key components, but they do have that little bit of I don't know.
A little bit of Altay.
They always a little bit of Altay, a little Mesut Özil, who strong preseason. We have to give him credit, and also now scoring on his first Super League game. Like he didn't give a single goal last season in 10 appearances, 1 assist. Now in the preseason he gave you guys saw that amazing assist he gave in the preseason game against Dynamo Kiev, and then the goal against. So
he had a beautiful. Should have been an assist that somebody flubbed too in the preseason. I forgot, or maybe it was in Europe.
So if Mesut Özil can kind of find his old self, like he can win them points, and it might. And well, maybe they'll still do something really big in those last couple of days when the window shut in all the other European countries. But yeah. Anyway, guys, it was really
on that note.
Exactly. It was really fun talking to you guys again. I really hope we can get Burak in here again one of these days. And thank you for joining me, and thank you for listening as well, guys. Jakub, Sinan, and Özer, and of course to the listeners. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.